Are you doing your pull-ups correctly? I'm Jesse with The Movement Athlete, and today we'll be going over 6 common pull-up mistakes that people make. So stay tuned because this might be you. First pull-up technique is not so much a technical error as it is just an engagement issue. So if you do a pull-up that's too wide in your grip, it tends to lead to more shoulder irritation and impingement. And then if it's too narrow, you actually don't fire up the lats well enough. So the happy medium is that slightly wider than shoulder width, keep the shoulder healthier and to engage the lats more. So we'll look at the wide and the narrow grip first and then the standard. So this is too wide. This isn't bad other than the fact that might be too much stress in the shoulders here. This is too wide for our preference, and then too narrow is less than shoulder width. And you'll notice a technique where the lats aren't really engaged as much here. So the lats are the big muscles on the side of the body and on the back, and we're not engaging those well enough. So simply moving the hands to slightly wider than shoulder width is the fix there. Pull-up mistake number 2 is to not squeeze the scapula down and together before doing the pull-up. So let's see what this looks like. Let's pay attention to the back here. We're gonna start in a long hang. See how the shoulders are elevated? And to start a pull-up without engaging the shoulders first. Way harder. It's a lot more stress on just the arms to do it this way. So now let's do the correct one where we're pulling the scapula down and together, and then the pull-up happens. And what we're doing here is engaging and recruiting as many of the prime movers as possible to do the pull-up. So it's spreading the load out, we're working the back, and this should immediately help your pull-up. Pull-up mistake number 3 is having the incorrect elbow pathway when doing the pull-up. So we want to stay in the 30 to 45 degree position with our arms, which is also reflecting a similarity with push-ups and handstand push-ups, where we don't want the elbows to flare out in either one. Same thing with the pull-ups. If we're doing them flared out to the side, we're not in the correct range of motion with what our scapula wants to do. It wants to move around the ribs and aid in overhead movement when we're in this 30 to 45 degree position. So let's first show you the incorrect with the elbows flaring out to the side before we get to the correct. So the elbows will be going straight out to the side in this incorrect version. Okay, we see this happen with push-ups and handstand push-ups as well. So now let's go more to the correct version where the elbows will be slightly more in front and pulling down towards the hips. So you're thinking pulling the elbows down and towards the hips. Okay, so the pathway of the elbow and the arms were a little bit different here. Again, less stress in these shoulders, and it's in the position where the scapula want to wrap around the ribs to aid in this whole position of hanging and pulling. The 4th common pull-up mistake that we see is straining the neck to get the chin over the bar. And one of the reasons this happens is because our arms are tired and we're trying to finish each rep, and we simply throw our neck, crane it forwards to get over the bar to kind of check the box and go, I finished my pull-up, got the chin over the bar. But this is not a good stress for the neck to crane it forwards like that. Puts extra stress on it, can also lead to headaches as well. So let's look at the pull-up with the neck craned forward to finish the rep. We want to avoid. Okay, so to fix this, you should actually be trying to get the clavicles and the chest to the bar rather than throwing the head forwards to get the chin over. So squeeze the scapula together, finish in a tight arch, and we'll see what that looks like. So head will stay a little bit more behind the shoulders, and we're behind the bar. Okay, so keep that neck in a more neutral position and rather squeeze your scapula, get your chest to the bar, and focus on not throwing your head forwards. And this is more of you need the feedback. You need to know that this is happening and not to strain your neck forwards to fix it. The 5th common pull-up mistake that we see is not returning to a straight arm hang in between each pull-up. And this can happen because we might be rushing, similar to push-ups, where we're just going through a bent arm phase and not finishing a lockout. Same thing with pull-ups, we're rushing through it. It's also easier because it's a smaller range of motion. Our muscles are already engaged and it's easier to pull back up in the concentric phase rather than going back down to the straight arm hang. So let's look at the probably rushed, but more so the fact that we never went back to a straight arm hang. So notice the bottom of each pull-up still still has a bent arm in it. Fixing this is as simple as it sounds. You need to just finish the whole range of motion and go back to a straight arm hang and re-engage to go to the next pull-up. The range of motion is bigger now, which is better. Bigger range of motion is better if you're healthy enough to do it. If you have an injury or some other limitation, that's a different story. But if you're healthy, you want a bigger range of motion, and you just have to make sure you re-engage or stay engaged at the bottom of each pull-up before doing the next one. But make sure you return to the straight arm hang in between each rep. The sixth pull-up mistake is to have a loose body. And when doing this, you're unsegmented, inefficient, and you're losing energy. So a loose body is disengaging these key muscles, and you want to stay rigid, engaged to do them well, and to have the biggest gain. So let's look at what the fatigued or incorrect loose body pull-up tends to look like. So we're no longer rigid, legs are apart, gets a little archy, a little wavy with some different body shapes. This might happen towards the end of your reps, or maybe you're just learning your pull-ups and need to go backwards into the regressed versions. So let's look at the tighter comparison. Okay, so squeezing the glutes, staying more rigid, body is moving as one. So to fix this and really any of the other problems, going back into the progression, scaling it back to make sure you can keep a tight body when doing so. Keep your body tight because you want to move efficiently, fire the correct muscles, and get the best gain when doing so. So that finishes our video on the 6 common pull-up mistakes that we see. And to recap it, the first one was having the incorrect grip width of maybe being too narrow or too wide. The second one was not squeezing the scapula together prior to the pull-up. The third was having the incorrect elbow pathway. Fourth was straining the neck to get the chin over the bar. The fifth was not returning to the full straight arm hang in between your reps. And the sixth was having a loose body in the duration of the pull-up. So those are the 6 common mistakes. Make sure that this is not you, but identify it if it is, so you can correct it. With any of these 6 mistakes, it's important to go back to the regressed version of an easier pull-up to make sure that you can do it the way it's supposed to be done. And we've got another video where we explain what the perfect pull-up looks like, what to focus on, what it should look like, and all those details. So check that one out. And we've got plenty more content coming up. Go to our website, themovementathlete.com, to take the free assessment. That way we can send you the results and get 3 free individualized training plans to start off with, and you can go from there. But thanks for checking our pull-up mistakes video, and we'll have many other content if you want to learn about planches, handstand push-ups, all of these other high-level calisthenics moves. You found the right channel. Thank you. Really quick, if you want to get started with calisthenics but are unsure of how to do so, I highly recommend trying our free calisthenics assessment. It will only take you 5 minutes to complete. You'll receive a detailed, personalized training program complete with recommendations and workouts you can use right away. If you found these videos helpful, please click the like button below and leave any comments or questions you might have in the comment section below. See you next time.